Thank you all for coming. The last time we had a press conference to introduce a head coach for the Chicago Rush was 10 years ago. So I think doing this once a decade bodes well for the next man who is going to get up here later today. But before we get started with that, I want to introduce a gentleman who is brand new in his position as team president and general manager. He joined us last week. He's a longtime Chicago guy, and I know many of you know him, and I would like to welcome him back to town officially and let him kick off today's festivities. Gene Nudo.
Hopefully you'll be clapping in a couple weeks when we start making some moves. Hey, it's nice to be home. I've been gone for 15 years, and I was born and raised here, and Chicago is the most wonderful place in the world. And wherever I've been living, Chicago has always been considered my home. I'm very proud to be part of this organization, who's been extremely successful. They've been a model franchise, I think, in the league over the last 9 years. And as you know, we're going into our 10th season and our 10th anniversary. Chicago is going to be a viable team again. 9 years straight in the playoffs is something that not many people could brag about. Certainly the group, this organization, can hold their heads high, and we're going to make it better. We're going to get over the hump. We're going to host an Arena Bowl here, and that's what our goal is. When I last coached in Chicago in the Arena League in 1988 with the Chicago Bruisers, we hosted the championship game at then Rosemont Horizon. The place was sold out and it was suffocating in there, and probably the worst football game in the history of football we played that night. But hopefully we'll finish the job now a few years later. But this is not about me. This is about naming a new coach and a new leader for our organization. I came on board here. I got in town Thursday about 1 o'clock. I will tell you that in that short time I've had a chance to work alongside this guy once again. Tell you a little bit about my relationship with our head coach. My sister-in-laws taught Bob in grade school. When he was in high school, I was a coach at Ridgewood. We knocked him out of the playoffs 2 years in a row, which was really a lot of fun. In 1995, when I became the GM of the Arizona Rattlers, Bob had been calling me. He wanted to play arena football for many years. And Bob would call me, and I would call friends of mine, and couldn't get anybody to take a bite on him. So he was the first player I ever signed when I went to the Arizona Rattlers. And then he's named one of the 20 great players in the history of the league. Tells you a lot about him. He's also the first free agent I ever lost. And he wound up going to San Jose and winning the championship there, won one with us in Arizona. And then obviously he led Chicago to the Arena Bowl championship here. And this guy is as tough as nails. He embodies everything that our city's about. And I think this team will be molded into his image. And people better put their chin straps on when they play the Chicago Rush. I give you Bob McMillen.
Well, I appreciate Gene bringing up bad memories back in the old high school days. But I'd like to thank Gene. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out today. Back in 1995, I never imagined coaching in this league. I never imagined playing 13 years in the Arena Football League, especially after having 2 knee surgeries early in my career back in 96 and 98. Like Gino said, back in Arizona, he was the one that I will respect more than anything that I could ever do, because he was the one that gave me the opportunity. I went to numerous tryouts early in my career, St. Louis, Iowa. There's a handful of others, and Gino was the one that was able to bring me back to Arizona and give me the opportunity to try out and probably pull Danny White in the direction that he didn't want to go and give me and force him to bring me to training camp, and I was able to succeed there. And then I was able to move on to San Jose, go 2 years there, and then have my dream come true, and that was to come back home and play in front of my family and friends here in Chicago. I was born and raised here. I grew up in Hillside, Illinois. My family is the biggest part of my life. My wife, who I've known for 15 years, we just celebrated our 15-year anniversary this past August, pretty much got me into arena football. She was the one that forced me to continue to go to tryouts when we were dating back in college. She's one of the reasons I'm standing up here today. She's been supportive of me. She knows how hard it was when I was injured, how hard it was when I had to move to Arizona for 6 years and San Jose for 2 years. but she stood by my side no matter what. And it's tough to find a woman like that, and I'm very lucky. I have 3 children who wish they could have been here, but they're upset with me because I wouldn't let them come out of school and skip school today. I have a 13-year-old son named Bobby. I have a 5-year-old named Thomas, and a 4-year-old girl named Shay who adore me, who adore the Chicago Rush, who wear the Chicago Rush jerseys and T-shirts and hats whenever they can. This has been a dream of mine for many years, especially when I had a chance to come here to Chicago with Coach Hohensee. That man taught me so much about the game of football, taught me about how to be a better person, how to be a better man, how to be a better husband, and I can never thank him enough for everything that he has taught me. And I was one of the most shocked person when I heard that Coach Hohensee was leaving. If I was ever to get a head coaching job, I didn't think it was going to be here in Chicago, because as long as the Chicago Rush were going to be around, I thought Coach Hohensee was going to be the guy here. And when I heard that he had resigned and took another position, it was an opportunity that came my way, and I wasn't going to let it pass me by. So when I was able to meet with the owners, Gene, I was going to do everything I could to make sure I received this job. And I wanted this job because I'm passionate about this organization. I'm passionate about this city. The city of Chicago loves sports, no matter if it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey. They're going to follow you. And we have the best fans in arena football. Our fans of the Chicago Rush are the most passionate fans I've ever seen in the game. I've been around this game for 15 years, and you can ask any team that comes into that building at the Allstate Arena, they hate coming here because the fans are so passionate, how much they get into the game, how much they enjoy the Chicago Rush, and it's exciting. And I'm looking forward to coaching for those fans, because it's about the city, it's about the people in the city, it's about the organization, it's about our owners who have done everything possible. Last year being the first year coming back from having a layoff, they made the team what it was last year by doing everything we possibly could to treat these guys like professionals, because that's what they are. They're professional football players. Unfortunately, the salary is not what it was a few years ago, but they're still playing. They're still having the opportunity to continue to play football, and they're considered professionals. And we're going to do everything we can to treat them like professionals here in Chicago, and that's a tribute to our president, Gene Nudo, and our ownership group. What the Rush means to me is success. They've been in the playoffs 9 straight years, have not missed a playoff game. I've been in this league for 15 years, and I have never missed the playoffs. I've always been in the playoffs for every year. In 15 years of my career, I've never missed the playoffs, and I plan on continuing that streak from 2011 and on as the head coach of this organization. What I'm expecting from my players, I'm expecting a team that's going to be physically and mentally tough every time they come on the field. They're going to be guys that come out to practice and work their butts off every day of the week, and on game days for 60 minutes they're going to go full out and be successful and go out there and show the team that we're playing that we're the toughest team in the league. They're going to remember that they played the Chicago Rush. We've already reached out to some of our players. I'm excited to announce here today that we've agreed in terms with Chris Gold yesterday. So we're bringing back the 2010 Kicker of the Year. We're excited about Chris. I think Chris is the best kicker in the league. I couldn't say enough about what he did last year for our organization. He kept us in a lot of ball games with his kickoffs, his extra points, his field goals. He was a leader on special teams, and we are very honored to bring him back this year. We've reached out to a few other players, hoping to have them signed later in the week, if not next week, before free agency starts on the 20th of September. What I'm expecting from our free agents is the same thing. I'm looking for a character football player. I'm looking for a guy that's going to come in here every day, punch in his time card, and work. I'm looking for the blue-collar football player. It's great to have all the abilities, but if you're going to be a jerk out in the field, I don't want you. I want a guy that's going to come out and practice as hard as you're going to play in the games every day. I want a guy that's going to be respectable to the fans. I want a guy that's going to be, when we put him in the public eye, that's going to not embarrass this organization, because it's about the organization. It's about the team. It's not about one individual. But I think we have a great core of guys getting ready to come back here. I am looking forward to great success here with the organization. Again, I would like to thank my parents who are in the back, my uncle, friends of mine who have shown up today that have supported me throughout my career. Again, my loving wife, and I look forward to taking on the Chicago Rush and being a very successful coach and being here for the next 10 years, if not more. I thank you guys all for coming today.
We got questions for Bob, also questions for Gene. Now's the time.
What's the biggest lesson you learned while playing for Coach Hull and coaching with him that you're able to bring into this now that you're the head guy?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned from Coach O is you have to respect the players. You have to treat them with respect. You have to take care of them on the field and off the field. And when I say on the field, you got to take care of their bodies. It's a long football season. And Coach Owens, he taught us that you can't go out there and beat these guys up every day and expect to get the best from them later down the road. And when I say later down the road, I mean later in the season, because by then their bodies are sore. They might not be 100% anymore, which they won't be anyway from a football season. But you want to try and get them back to full health as possible. From a personal standpoint, he taught me how to just to be a better person, how to understand the game of football better. When I played for Coach Owens, it's a funny story. For the 5 years I played for Coach Owens, I feared for my job every day I walked onto that football field. And he knew that. And I went out there and I practiced as hard as I could because I didn't want to lose my job. I loved the game so much. I loved playing in front of the fans here in Chicago. I loved playing in front of my family here in Chicago that I did not want to leave the team here. So I went out there and I worked, and he made me work as hard as I could, and it made me a better person, a better football player, and a better man because of it.
Do you see any differences that you're going to have in coaching style between him and yourself?
I see a few. Coach Owens, he's a guy who he's not a yeller. He's not a guy that's going to get into a guy's face and scream at him. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I'm going to be a little bit more stern with our players. I'm going to be I'm going to expect the best from him. I'm not saying Coach Owens, he didn't expect the best from his players. I'm going to make sure I pull the best out of our players, not only in the games but in practices also. If a guy's not practicing hard, then you're not helping the team, and you're definitely not helping yourself. And I'm going to expect that from our players on every day we walk to practice. Every time we're playing a game, I'm going to expect that from our football players.
You expect to bring McMillen back? Is he among the guys you've reached out to? Or?
Absolutely. Actually, Gene and I had a very nice lunch with Russ right now. Russ is our number one target right now. We believe, and Gene and I have talked about this, that to have a successful football team, you got to have a great quarterback. And Russ is one of the top quarterbacks in this league, if not the top quarterback. We want Russ back to this organization. We've already expressed that to Russ yesterday in our meeting. Russ right now is going to wait. He has got a job. He believes that he's looking for other opportunities, but he is very sincere about coming back to the Rush if he does decide that he wants to play football. We told him that we give him a few weeks to decide. We told him from our standpoint we can't wait long. We have to make sure we put the best players on the football team. But we'll talk with Russ again next week, and we'll continue to have contact with Russ for the next few weeks and hopefully have a chance to bring him back.
He's got the UFL.
Yeah, Russ was released from the Vegas team on Friday. So Russ right now is not playing football. But that's Russ's business, and I'd rather leave that to him.
That's it for Bob. Anything for Gene?
So that's the way it's going to be. Huh?
How's your first week gone?
Well, it's good to be home. I'm living with my 75-year-old father. He told me to be careful driving this morning.
Good advice.
Right, these guys will both be available for one-on-ones if you guys want to get them I know, although you do. So
thank you, everyone, for coming. I appreciate it.
And they'll be here as long as you need them to be here.
Thank you.